The clock is ticking at TLC headquarters, and the sound echoes through every conference room where Sister Wives executives are making calculations that could end one of their most profitable franchises forever. Industry sources whisper about an ultimatum that's got the Brown family scrambling, 72 hours to sign new contracts, or watch Sister Wives disappear into television history after season 20 wraps. Picture the scene unfolding in corporate boardrooms and family living rooms across the country. On one side, network executives with spreadsheets full of advertising revenue, international licensing deals, and profit margins. On the other side, a plural family whose personal drama has generated millions in corporate profits, but who suddenly have opinions about creative control and narrative ownership. The timing couldn't be more explosive. Sister Wives cast contracts are set to expire at the end of season 20, creating a natural pressure point that TLC appears to be weaponizing. With Christine's memoir Rebellion still fresh and Janelle's quiet resistance disrupting production schedules, the network seems to have decided that corporate patience has reached its limit. This isn't your typical contract renewal negotiation. This is corporate hardball played with people's livelihoods, family security, and professional futures. The alleged 72-hour deadline represents TLC's nuclear option: sign on our terms, or we pull the plug on the entire franchise and move our investment dollars to more compliant talent. The financial stakes are staggering for everyone involved. Sister Wives generates enormous revenue through advertising, streaming platforms, international sales, and promotional tie-ins. The show's success created an entire ecosystem of spin-offs, specials, and branded content opportunities. All of that economic engine could disappear if contract negotiations collapse. For the Brown family members, the pressure is even more intense. Reality television became their primary income source over the past decade. Monthly mortgage payments, property taxes, children's expenses, and daily living costs all depend on those TLC paychecks. The network knows exactly how much financial leverage this creates. But here's where the situation gets fascinating from a corporate strategy perspective. TLC's alleged ultimatum suggests they believe the Brown family's recent acts of resistance were negotiating tactics rather than genuine boundaries. The network seems to be betting that financial pressure will force compliance where corporate authority failed. The 72-hour timeline creates artificial urgency designed to prevent careful consideration of alternatives. When people feel rushed, they make decisions based on fear rather than strategy. TLC appears to be counting on financial panic to override any principled stands about creative control or narrative ownership. Industry observers describe this as the most aggressive reality TV contract tactic they've witnessed. Networks typically prefer gradual pressure and extended negotiations to maintain working relationships with talent. Public ultimatums risk creating publicity disasters and legal complications that could cost more than contract concessions. The Brown family finds themselves caught between impossible choices: submit to continued corporate control or face potential financial devastation. But the network's hardball tactics might have underestimated how much the family dynamics have shifted since their rebellion began. The real question becomes whether TLC's corporate countdown will force submission or trigger the complete implosion of their most valuable franchise. The contract expiration timing reads like something straight out of a corporate thriller. Sister Wives cast contracts are set to expire precisely at the end of season 20, creating what industry insiders describe as a natural pressure cooker that TLC appears determined to exploit. This isn't coincidental timing. This is strategic corporate planning designed to maximize network leverage when the family is most financially vulnerable. Contract expiration dates in reality television are typically staggered to prevent exactly this kind of mass negotiation crisis. Networks prefer individual renewals that allow them to divide and conquer cast members rather than face unified resistance. The fact that all Brown family contracts expire simultaneously suggests either poor planning or deliberate strategy to create maximum pressure. The uncertainty surrounding season 20's future has been building for months, but the contract expiration deadline transforms speculation into immediate crisis. Reddit discussions among Sister Wives fans reveal the stark mathematics. Just because the contract ends after season 20 doesn't mean TLC won't offer another contract. If the show is making TLC money and contract negotiations are within the limits of what TLC wants to pay, the show could continue. But that conditional language reveals the precarious nature of reality TV economics. Shows exist only as long as they generate sufficient profit margins for network executives. Fan loyalty, cast investment, and cultural impact become irrelevant when corporate spreadsheets show declining returns. As one industry observer noted, once the money to TLC drops, then it will most likely be canceled. The expiration timing creates perfect leverage for TLC's alleged ultimatum strategy. Cast members can't simply walk away and negotiate from positions of strength because they have nowhere else to go immediately. Other networks would need months to develop competing offers, and there's no guarantee those offers would materialize at all. The Brown family faces what corporate negotiators call a forcing function, external pressure that demands immediate decision-making without adequate time for strategic planning. The 72-hour deadline prevents them from consulting entertainment lawyers, exploring alternative opportunities, or developing unified resistance strategies. But TLC's hardball approach carries significant risks. Pushing talent too aggressively can trigger publicity disasters that cost more than contract concessions would have. The network's reputation for caste treatment affects their ability to attract future reality stars and maintain audience loyalty. The contract expiration crisis also reveals fundamental changes in the sister-wives dynamic since the show began. Early seasons featured a family eager for television exposure and financial opportunity. Current negotiations involve cast members who've experienced the costs of reality TV fame and developed sophisticated understanding of their own leverage. Christine's memoir Rebellion and Janelle's quiet resistance demonstrate that some family members have developed financial and emotional independence that reduces TLC's traditional control mechanisms. This makes the contract expiration deadline less effective as a pressure tactic than the network might have anticipated. The expiration timing, coinciding with Christine's book launch, appears particularly strategic. Her memoir represents an alternative income stream that could provide financial cushioning during contract negotiations. TLC's alleged ultimatum might be designed to prevent cast members from developing similar independence. Industry experts describe this contract crisis as a test case for reality TV power dynamics. The outcome will signal whether networks can still force compliance through financial pressure or whether cast members have developed enough leverage to demand better terms. But the financial stranglehold TLC maintains over the Brown family reveals the true scope of their corporate control strategy. The Brown family's financial dependency on sister wives reads like a corporate masterclass in economic control. Over the past decade, reality television transformed from supplemental income into their primary financial lifeline, creating exactly the kind of leverage that networks dream about during contract negotiations. TLC didn't accidentally stumble into this power dynamic, they cultivated it. The mathematics of reality TV dependency are brutal and precise. Monthly mortgage payments on multiple properties, property taxes in different states, children's educational expenses, healthcare costs, and daily living expenses for an extended plural family create astronomical monthly obligations. Industry sources estimate the Brown family's collective monthly expenses easily reach 6 figures, all supported by TLC paychecks. This financial architecture serves TLC's interest perfectly. When cast members rely on show income for basic survival needs, they become extraordinarily reluctant to risk contract negotiations. The network understands exactly how much financial pressure this creates, and the alleged 72-hour ultimatum appears designed to weaponize that desperation. Christine's recent memoir success provides a fascinating glimpse into alternative income potential, but book sales generate lumpy, unpredictable revenue that can't replace steady television paychecks for major monthly obligations. Even successful memoirs rarely provide the consistent cash flow required to maintain the lifestyle that Sister Wives' income has supported. Janelle's real estate ventures offer another income stream, but property markets are cyclical, and commission-based work provides irregular earnings. The uncertainty of real estate income makes it difficult to rely on for consistent monthly obligations, especially during market downturns or seasonal slowdowns. The financial stranglehold extends beyond immediate income into long-term financial planning. Reality TV careers have limited lifespans, and cast members who become financially dependent on show income often struggle to develop transferable skills or alternative career paths. The Brown family invested over a decade building their television brand rather than diversifying their economic foundation. TLC's corporate strategy recognizes this dependency and uses it strategically during negotiations. The network knows that cast members with high monthly expenses and limited alternative income sources will accept contract terms they might otherwise reject. Financial desperation becomes a negotiating tool more powerful than any corporate authority. The alleged ultimatum timeline exploits this financial pressure by preventing cast members from developing emergency income alternatives. 72 hours isn't enough time to secure alternative employment, negotiate other television opportunities, or create financial cushioning that would support prolonged contract resistance. But the financial dependency cuts both ways. The Brown family's high expenses also indicate their significant contribution to TLC's revenue generation. Their lifestyle, properties, and family dynamics created the content that generated millions in advertising revenue, international licensing deals, and streaming platform payments. Industry observers note that cast members often underestimate their own financial value to networks during contract negotiations. The Brown family's expenses demonstrate their income-generating capacity, which suggests they might have more leverage than the financial pressure makes them realize. The real question becomes whether financial panic will force immediate compliance with TLC's terms, or whether family members have developed enough emotional and strategic clarity to recognize their own economic value in this negotiation. The financial stranglehold represents just one weapon in TLC's corporate arsenal, but the behind-the-scenes negotiation warfare reveals much more sophisticated control strategies. The contract negotiations unfolding behind corporate doors represent a masterpiece of psychological manipulation disguised as business discussions. TLC's alleged ultimatum isn't just about money or time constraints. It's about breaking down the resistance that Christine and Janelle built through months of careful boundary setting and strategic defiance. Network executives understand that successful reality TV negotiations require dividing cast members against each other rather than allowing unified resistance. The alleged 72-hour deadline prevents family meetings, strategic planning sessions, and the kind of collective decision-making that could strengthen their negotiating position. Divide and conquer remains the most effective corporate tactic for managing difficult talent. The timing of this ultimatum reveals sophisticated corporate intelligence about the Brown family's current vulnerabilities. Christine's memoir battle exhausted her emotionally and financially. Janelle's grief process makes aggressive confrontation particularly difficult. Cody's financial obligations across multiple households create enormous pressure for continued income. The network appears to have calculated exactly when each family member would be most susceptible to corporate pressure, but TLC's hardball approach carries significant risks that suggest either desperation or overconfidence. Pushing grieving cast members too aggressively can trigger publicity disasters that damage the network's reputation more than contract concessions would cost. The corporate calculation seems to be that financial leverage outweighs public relations risks. The negotiation warfare extends beyond immediate contract terms into fundamental questions about narrative control, promotional obligations, and creative authority. Christine's memoir censorship battle established these issues as non-negotiable for her continued participation. Janelle's detox framework created similar boundaries around her emotional availability for network demands. Industry sources describe unprecedented tension in these negotiations compared to previous Sister Wives renewals. Early contract discussions typically involved eager cast members grateful for continued television exposure. Current negotiations feature family members who understand the true costs of reality TV participation and have developed sophisticated awareness of their own leverage. The alleged ultimatum strategy suggests TLC believes the family's resistance was negotiating theater rather than genuine boundary setting. The network seems to be betting that financial pressure will force abandonment of principles that took months to establish. This represents a fundamental misreading of how much the family dynamics have shifted. Corporate negotiation tactics typically involve gradual escalation rather than immediate ultimatums. The 72-hour deadline represents nuclear option strategy that leaves no room for face-saving compromises or relationship repair. If the ultimatum fails, TLC faces complete franchise collapse without intermediate alternatives. The negotiation warfare also reveals internal network tensions about Sister Wives' future value. Some executives apparently believe the show's profitability justifies accommodation of cast demands. Others seem convinced that setting precedents for creative control will damage TLC's ability to manage other reality TV properties. The Brown family finds themselves navigating corporate chess moves designed to exploit their individual vulnerabilities while preventing collective strength. The alleged deadline forces individual decision-making rather than family consensus, exactly the kind of division that corporate negotiators prefer. But the negotiation warfare occurs against a backdrop of Sister Wives' enormous value to TLC's programming strategy, creating counter-pressures that might limit how aggressively the network can actually push. Sister Wives occupies a unique position in TLC's programming ecosystem that makes the alleged ultimatum strategy particularly risky for network executives. Industry analysis consistently identifies the show as one of TLC's top-rated shows, generating audience numbers that most reality TV properties can only dream about achieving. This rating success creates counter-pressure against aggressive negotiation tactics that could kill the golden goose. The mathematics of reality TV economics reveal why Sister Wives matters so much to TLC's bottom line. The show consistently delivers the coveted 18 to 54 demographic that advertisers pay premium rates to reach. International licensing deals multiply domestic revenue through global distribution partnerships. Streaming platform sales create additional income streams that extend far beyond traditional broadcast advertising. But rating success creates its own negotiation complexities. High-performing shows generate enormous revenue that justifies higher cast compensation and creative concessions. The Brown family's contribution to TLC's profitability gives them leverage that lower-rated cast members couldn't dream of wielding during contract discussions. The reality TV renewal process typically follows predictable patterns based on profit margins versus production costs. Shows continue as long as they generate sufficient returns to justify network investment. Sister Wives' consistent performance suggests automatic renewal should be the logical corporate decision, making the alleged ultimatum strategy puzzling from pure business perspective. Industry experts note that successful reality shows often face higher production costs over time as cast members develop sophisticated understanding of their own value. Early seasons of Sister Wives featured a family grateful for any television opportunity. Current negotiations involve cast members who understand their contribution to corporate profits and expect compensation that reflects that value. The ratings reality also includes audience loyalty factors that extend beyond simple viewership numbers. Sister Wives fans demonstrate unusual engagement through social media, online communities, and related content consumption. This audience investment creates valuable marketing opportunities and brand extension possibilities that generate revenue beyond traditional advertising. TLC's alleged ultimatum strategy risks destroying audience loyalty that took over a decade to build. Fans who feel the network treated their favorite cast members unfairly often boycott shows or migrate to competing platforms. The corporate calculation must weigh short-term negotiation advantages against long-term audience relationship damage. The show's ratings performance also provides context for understanding cast leverage during negotiations. High-performing properties give talent significant bargaining power because networks can't easily replace successful content. The Brown family's contribution to TLC's success makes them less replaceable than lower-rated cast members. But rating success creates expectations for continued performance that add pressure to renewal negotiations. Networks expect successful shows to maintain or increase audience numbers, while cast members may feel their proven track record justifies better contract terms. This dynamic can create negotiation deadlocks, even for profitable properties. The ratings reality check reveals fundamental tensions in TLC's alleged ultimatum strategy. The network needs Sister Wives more than they might want to admit during aggressive contract negotiations. The show's consistent performance makes the 72-hour deadline particularly high stakes for corporate executives. However, individual family members face very different calculations about their participation in this ratings success story. The alleged 72-hour ultimatum creates vastly different pressure points for each Brown family member, and TLC's corporate strategists understand exactly how to exploit those individual vulnerabilities. This isn't a unified family facing a single decision. This is a collection of people with dramatically different financial needs, emotional states, and leverage positions being forced into separate calculations about their futures. Cody finds himself in the most precarious position financially. Supporting multiple households across different states creates enormous monthly obligations that reality TV income barely covers. His recent legal battles, property investments, and lifestyle maintenance require consistent cash flow that alternative employment couldn't immediately replace. Industry sources suggest he's the family member most likely to cave to network pressure, regardless of contract terms. Christine operates from the strongest negotiating position despite her recent battles with TLC. Her memoir success, independent Utah residence, and emotional distance from plural marriage dynamics provide financial and psychological cushioning that other family members lack. Her willingness to sacrifice book promotion rather than submit to network control demonstrates she's prepared for extended conflict with corporate demands. Janelle's position remains the most strategically complex. Her grief-based boundaries create moral authority that's difficult for TLC to challenge publicly, but her real estate income fluctuates with market conditions. Her 2025 detox framework provides perfect justification for contract resistance, yet her practical nature might prioritize financial security over principled stands. Robin faces unique pressures as the only remaining plural wife in an active relationship with Cody. Her children's stability, household expenses, and social identity all depend on continued show participation. She lacks the independent income streams that provide other family members with alternative options during contract negotiations. Mary's situation reflects the complications of partial family participation. Her bed and breakfast business provides some income independence, but her ambiguous relationship status within the family creates uncertainty about her continued narrative value to TLC. She might be the most expendable family member from the network's perspective. The individual financial pressures create perfect conditions for TLC's divide and conquer strategy. Family members with high expenses and limited alternatives become more likely to accept unfavorable contract terms. Those with financial independence can afford to hold out for better conditions or walk away entirely. The alleged ultimatum timeline prevents family members from coordinating their responses or developing unified negotiating strategies. 72 hours forces individual decision-making based on personal circumstances rather than collective strength. This isolation serves TLC's interests by preventing the kind of coordinated resistance that could strengthen cast leverage. But individual positions also reveal potential alliance patterns that could complicate TLC's strategy. Christine and Janelle's recent boundary setting might create mutual support for continued resistance. Cody and Robin's financial dependency could force their compliance regardless of other family members' decisions. The corporate calculation appears to be that enough family members will cave to financial pressure to maintain show viability, even if one or two hold out. This strategy assumes that sister wives can survive partial cast departures as long as core participants remain. Industry observers note that individual contract negotiations often create long-term family tensions that can actually benefit reality TV storylines. TLC's alleged ultimatum might be designed to generate interpersonal conflict that provides future season content regardless of immediate negotiation outcomes. The individual family member positions reveal why this contract crisis represents such high stakes for TLC's broader programming strategy. TLC's alleged ultimatum with the Brown family represents far more than a single show's contract dispute. Network executives across the reality TV industry are watching this standoff carefully because the outcome will establish precedents for how aggressively corporations can pressure talent without triggering franchise collapse. This is essentially a test case for the entire business model. Canceling Sister Wives would create a massive hole in TLC's programming lineup that took over a decade to build. The show anchors Sunday night viewing, drives international sales, and generates spin-off opportunities that multiply revenue streams. Replacing that level of consistent performance requires years of development and significant financial risk with unproven properties. The network's alleged hardball tactics suggest internal pressure to demonstrate corporate authority after Christine's memoir Rebellion and Janelle's resistance disrupted traditional talent management strategies. TLC executives need to prove they can still control difficult cast members or risk similar resistance spreading to other franchises across their portfolio. Industry observers describe the ultimatum strategy as either brilliant corporate chess or dangerous overreach depending on outcomes. If the Brown family caves to pressure, it signals to other reality stars that financial dependency trumps creative control demands. If the family holds firm and the show ends, it demonstrates that even profitable franchises can be destroyed by aggressive corporate tactics. The broader reality TV landscape includes numerous shows where cast members have recently begun asserting more control over their narratives and working conditions. The Sister Wives situation is being watched as a bellwether for whether networks can maintain traditional power dynamics or must adapt to more sophisticated talent demands. TLC's portfolio management strategy also factors into this decision. The network has been developing alternative programming that could potentially fill Sister Wives' audience slot. The alleged ultimatum might reflect confidence in their ability to replace the show's ratings with other content, reducing their negotiation flexibility. The corporate stakes extend beyond immediate profit calculations into long-term reputation management. How TLC handles this crisis affects their ability to attract future reality TV participants and maintain relationships with existing talent across multiple shows. Overly aggressive tactics can create industry-wide resistance that makes talent recruitment more difficult and expensive. Network executives must balance short-term negotiation victories against long-term franchise value and industry relationships. The alleged 72-hour deadline forces immediate resolution that prevents gradual compromise development, making the stakes particularly high for all parties involved. The industry implications ensure that whatever happens with Sister Wives will influence reality TV business practices for years to come. The Sister Wives fanbase has transformed into something TLC never anticipated, a sophisticated audience that understands the difference between supporting their favorite cast members and enabling corporate exploitation. The community response to contract renewal uncertainty reveals viewing power that could determine whether the network's alleged ultimatum strategy succeeds or backfires spectacularly. Social media discussions among Sister Wives fans demonstrate remarkable media literacy about reality TV business practices. Facebook groups dissect contract negotiations, analyze network power dynamics, and educate each other about how viewing choices impact renewal decisions. This isn't passive entertainment consumption anymore, it's active engagement with the business mechanics behind their favorite show. The fan response to Christine's memoir censorship and Janelle's boundary setting has been overwhelmingly supportive, creating a narrative framework where TLC becomes the villain rather than the cast members. Comment sections overflow with messages like, "Christine deserves creative freedom," and "Janelle doesn't owe TLC anything after everything she's been through." This audience sentiment complicates the network's ability to frame contract resistance as unreasonable talent demands. Viewer loyalty appears increasingly directed toward individual cast members rather than the Sister Wives franchise itself. Fans express willingness to follow Christine and Janelle to other platforms, support their independent projects, and boycott TLC if they perceive unfair treatment. This loyalty transfer represents the network's worst nightmare, an audience that values cast well-being over continued entertainment. The community's sophisticated understanding of reality TV economics means they recognize how their viewing choices impact contract negotiations. Online discussions focus on supporting cast independence through memoir purchases, social media engagement, and selective viewing that rewards authentic content over manufactured drama. This strategic fan engagement creates leverage for cast members during negotiations. Reddit discussions reveal fan calculations about Sister Wives' future that mirror industry analysis. As long as they pull the ratings and the Browns are willing, there'll be a show. But fans are increasingly questioning whether they want the Browns to remain willing if it means accepting unfair corporate control. The audience response to contract uncertainty includes preparation for potential show cancellation that suggests emotional readiness for franchise endings if it means better treatment for cast members. This represents a fundamental shift from typical fan behavior where audiences demand content continuation regardless of production circumstances. TLC's alleged ultimatum strategy assumes fan loyalty will pressure cast members to maintain show continuity, but the community response suggests audiences might actually support cast resistance even if it means losing their favorite show, creating unexpected leverage for family members during negotiations. TLC's alleged ultimatum strategy creates precedent implications that ripple far beyond Sister Wives into the entire reality television ecosystem. Network executives across the industry are calculating how this contract standoff will affect their own talent management strategies and whether aggressive negotiation tactics remain viable in an era of increasingly sophisticated cast members. The precedent problem cuts both ways for corporate interests. If TLC successfully forces Brown family compliance through financial pressure and deadline tactics, it establishes that networks can still control difficult talent through economic leverage. Every reality TV executive would immediately adopt similar hardball strategies for their own contract negotiations, fundamentally shifting industry power dynamics. But if the Brown family successfully resists the alleged ultimatum, either through unified rejection or partial compliance that undermines show viability, it signals that cast members have developed enough leverage to challenge traditional corporate authority. This outcome would encourage reality stars across multiple networks to demand better contract terms, creative control, and narrative ownership. The Sister Wives situation is particularly significant because it involves established, profitable talent rather than desperate newcomers seeking television exposure. The Brown family's decade-long success demonstrates that even financially dependent cast members can develop enough independence and audience support to challenge network control when they reach their breaking point. Industry legal experts note that reality TV contracts have remained relatively unchanged despite evolving cast sophistication and audience awareness of exploitation issues. The Sister Wives precedent could force networks to offer more equitable terms proactively rather than risk similar rebellion from other profitable franchises. The timing coincides with broader cultural conversations about worker rights, corporate accountability, and fair compensation that extend beyond entertainment industry boundaries. Reality TV cast members increasingly frame their resistance in terms of labor rights and personal autonomy rather than entertainment industry disputes, creating moral authority that's difficult to challenge. Other TLC properties face immediate implications from whatever precedent emerges from Sister Wives negotiations. Shows like 90 Day Fiancé, My Big Fat Fabulous Life, and Outdaughtered could see cast members referencing Sister Wives outcomes during their own contract discussions, creating cascade effects across the network's entire portfolio. The precedent extends beyond TLC into competing networks, where reality TV cast members are already questioning traditional power arrangements. MTV, Bravo, and Discovery properties could face similar resistance if Sister Wives establishes successful templates for challenging corporate authority. The precedent problem ensures that TLC's alleged ultimatum represents more than immediate contract resolution. Whatever happens will influence reality TV business practices, cast rights, and corporate talent relationships for years to come, making the stakes enormous for everyone involved in the industry. The alleged 72-hour countdown reaches its crescendo with implications that extend far beyond contract signatures or franchise continuity. This moment represents a fundamental test of whether financial desperation can still override principled resistance in an era where reality TV cast members have developed unprecedented sophistication about their own leverage and value. The most likely scenario involves partial capitulation that satisfies neither TLC's control demands nor the Brown family's boundary requirements. Cody and Robin's financial pressures probably force their compliance with network terms, while Christine and Janelle's independence allows continued resistance. This fractured outcome could create exactly the kind of family tension that generates future storylines, serving TLC's interests regardless of immediate negotiation victories. TLC's corporate calculation appears to bet that enough family members will cave to maintain show viability, even if one or two hold out. The network might be willing to proceed with reduced cast participation rather than face complete franchise loss, especially given Sister Wives' consistent ratings performance and revenue generation. But the deadline strategy carries enormous risks that suggest either corporate desperation or dangerous overconfidence. If the ultimatum fails completely, with unified family rejection or insufficient participation for viable production, TLC faces immediate franchise collapse without intermediate alternatives or face-saving compromises. The broader industry watches this deadline because the outcome establishes templates for future contract negotiations across reality television. Network executives need to know whether aggressive deadline tactics remain effective against sophisticated talent or whether cast members have developed enough collective power to resist corporate pressure successfully. The Sister Wives fanbase adds unexpected pressure to deadline calculations through their demonstrated willingness to support cast independence over continued entertainment. This audience loyalty creates leverage for family members who might otherwise feel forced to accept unfavorable terms to maintain viewer relationships. The financial mathematics remain brutal for family members with high monthly expenses and limited alternative income streams. 72 hours isn't sufficient time to develop employment alternatives that could replace reality TV income, creating exactly the kind of panic-driven decision-making that corporate ultimatums are designed to exploit. Yet the deadline also reveals TLC's own vulnerabilities. Networks typically prefer gradual negotiation escalation that preserves working relationships and allows face-saving compromises. The alleged ultimatum represents nuclear option strategy that leaves no room for relationship repair if negotiations collapse. Whatever happens when the deadline expires will reshape reality television's power dynamics, establish precedents for cast rights, and determine whether corporate financial leverage can still override sophisticated talent resistance in the modern entertainment landscape.